Today we are going to be taking a look at the brand new Union Arena card game coming out this year on October 4th, 2024. Really excited for this game. If you haven't heard, it's going to be an anime collaborative TCG, starting off with Hunter x Hunter, Bleach, and Jujutsu Kaisen, with later releases including Demon Slayer, Code Geass, as well as One Punch Man, and a lot more to come. There's a Japanese version of the game with a bunch of sets out. Who knows if we're getting all of them, but it's a good little insight into what animes you could possibly see. But these are the ones we're starting out with. Today we're going to be talking about the card game itself, what to look forward to, how it kind of works more or less, what I know about it at the very least, and something that they just announced, the super pre-release events that are starting to happen between the 23rd of August and September 8th. For anyone that doesn't know, if you have any interest in going to a super pre-release event, everything is done through the TCG Player app. Just download Bandai TCG Player Plus. Once you go into the app, just tap in the top up there where you can change the game, and you can change it to Union Arena. And then from there, you should see the events. What you should do specifically is go to event search in the middle, search details, change it to your state, and then from there, you can look at the events near you and see which ones you can go to. They do have a price, just keep that in mind. It does say there, but you can see how many people are joining, what the max limit is, and yeah, just keep in mind that, you know, with how popular this potentially could be. I don't know how much word of mouth this card game is getting at the moment, but you probably want to get in sooner or later, just in case if you have any interest, because it could fill up. But yeah, the super pre-release event, it is starting with Bleach and Hunter x Hunter, at least at the super pre-release event. I think the TCG is actually releasing with these two, and then Jujutsu Kaisen is the next release in November, but they have confirmed all of those animes. But yeah, the super pre-release event, I don't know too much myself. You can kind of read into it a little bit here, but you're going to be able to pick up the starter decks, Hunter x Hunter or Bleach. I can't wait, dude. I haven't even seen the cards. Oh yeah, they have some new cards that they announced. I haven't seen these. These are going to be actual winner packs, because it is sort of a tournament style. Again, everyone's just having fun. I'm sure there's, some sweats. There's always sweats everywhere, right? But yeah, you can potentially win some cool super pre-release cards. These look pretty clean. Kurapika and Ichigo. There's no official deck list for the Union Arena starter decks that we're getting, and it actually looks like you are able to pick up the pre-release versions of these super pre-release starter decks. That's really cool. So yeah, there's going to be super pre-release versions of the starter decks that you can pick up, even though the official ones actually release on the 27th of September, it looks like. All right, so we got all the release dates here, boys. So the release dates for Union Arena looks like starter decks are going to be the 27th. This is going to be after all the pre-release stuff, the super pre-release stuff. Then we're going to be getting the actual booster boxes on the 4th of October. The 22nd of November, on that day, is when we're going to be getting Jujutsu Kaisen. I imagine that means that a week or two earlier, just like these starter decks, but that means we're going to be getting Jujutsu Kaisen starter decks then. And then December 13th, we've got Code Geass in line. And let's see, and I think that's all they've officially announced. Like, as you can see here, Demon Slayer, One Punch Man, they are on the list, but no official dates yet. Cool, so those are the official releases for the year. Alright, so since the official deck lists for the starter decks are not out, we really just have like these two cards. We'll take a look at these in the future. Feel free to look your guys yourself, because today what we're really focusing on is how the actual game works, what the cards look like, and yeah, what to look for in the cards themselves and the card game, for anyone that's curious. And what we're going to be using to show you guys is Tabletop Simulator, as well as the official demo decks. So for anyone that doesn't know, there were demo decks that came out earlier this year. I got some IRL ones, but I figured, for sake of showing you guys, I'll show you guys the digital versions of them that I imported. So these are I don't know if they're going to be, I don't know if we'll see these cards at all. I kind of doubt it, since they're demo cards. Also, I should mention, if you guys are curious, they have a tutorial online that you can play. Let me show you. Yeah, literally just right on their homepage of Union Arena, just scroll down and you can try out the Union Arena trial game. It's something. It's better than nothing. I will definitely say that. It is better than nothing. So yeah, feel free to check this out if it loads for you. But for the sake of people who just want to watch and enjoy some content, I'm going to show you guys, and also some things that they might not point out. I'm going to show you guys what I've experienced with the card game, because I've played some games as well with the homie Shadowhawk. Shout out to Shadowhawk. So maybe we'll also get some games in for you guys before the actual release through Tabletop. Alright guys, so breaking down the Union Arena card game, the main things to point out that are unique to the card game, I guess you could say, are going to be a few things. So the first thing to point out is in the top left, your cost to play cards. Not only are you going to have an energy cost to play the cards, but you're also going to have an action cost. So throughout the game, you're either going to be starting with 1 action or 2 if you're the second player, and capping out at 3 throughout the game. And as you play cards, as you can see, they all require at least 1 action, at least the ones I've seen. This one requires 2 actions to play. Not only do you have to match the energy in game to be able to play the cards, but you're also going to have active action points that you tap and then untap on your next turn in order to play the cards. So it's really cool. Even if you are ramping energy, you do have a limit on actions that you can do throughout the game. The next thing that I really like about this game that's really unique is the raid system. As you play cards in this game, you will be playing them inactive, untapped. However, if you raid with a card, meaning if you have an Ichigo in play that you can play this card on top of, that means that turn, you can actually attack with that Ichigo. On top of that, this Ichigo has a special ability called Impact if he raids. Keep in mind though, even though this is a raid card, you are allowed to play this Ichigo without raiding, untapped. You're just not going to have the raid ability. So that's a cool little feature. Another thing I really love about this game is the trigger system. It's so interesting. So this game does run off of a life system. When you first start your game, you're going to be putting, when you start off a game, you're going to be putting 5 cards face down for your life. Oh, I'm sorry, 7. It's 5 for the demo decks. But as you get your lives removed from your opponent attacking you, you know, first person to win is the first one to get the opponent down to 0, aka first person to lose, who's the first one to hit 0. You're going to be revealing cards as you take lives, and they're going to have special abilities in the bottom depending on their triggers. So the actual text box right there under event isn't going to matter if it's coming from your life. Instead, you'll be looking at the trigger box there. Choose one character on your opponent's front line and sideline it. So yeah, it's really cool. You can have cards that save the day by clearing your opponent's field, stopping attacks that they thought they were going to be able to get through with a card like this. Byakuya, play 1 purple card with a cost of 2 or less required energy and 1 action point from your sideline set to active into your front line. I don't think that would require an action point to use that and play the card. But you know what I mean? Like, it's really cool, the different things you can see. I believe there's this one right here. There's even and you can see there's different types in the little box there. This one's a final trigger. If you have 0 life, when you remove this from your life, place the top card of your deck into your life area, basically allowing you to continue the game when nobody saw it coming. Again, these are just demo cards, so a lot of these are subject to change. Who knows if these are going to be more broken than not, or nowhere near as broken as the actual cards in-game are going to be. But nice little examples of how the game's going to flow. So you're going to be losing life, but also still gaining effects depending on what the cards are going to be. They could be as simple as adding a card to your hand, or this card to your hand, or as big as removing a character from your opponent's front line. And that's the next thing we'll probably dive into, is the different lines here, because that can be a little confusing, but it's really cool how it works. So you've got an energy line and a front line. As you're playing the game, you're allowed to play on either or. You can play cards onto the front line, or you can play them onto the energy line. If there's cards, your cards in your energy line will determine how much energy you have. So, and also before I get to that, keep in mind you're allowed to move cards from your energy to your front line. That is only allowed to be done at the beginning of your turns, though, so it's not something you can just do throughout the game. But when you do that, you know, you'll be losing 1 energy with Rukia right here if you do that. So that's why cards like Byakuya is going to be amazing to have in your energy line, because he'll have the 2 energy he's giving you just from 1 card down. But yeah, so that's basically how it's going to work. Cards in your energy line cannot block for you. They cannot attack for you. They are simply giving you energy. That's also where your sight cards can sit. I'm not 100% sure if you can play these on the front line. Again, I'm learning the game myself, but I've at least got the basics down, so I figure the game's not even out yet. We might as well throw out the knowledge we have and start learning with others, right? You can only have 4 cards in each line. So, you know, you can't really flood the board necessarily. You know, there are limitations. Whether that's going to be a good or a bad thing, we're going to find out. But yeah, you can only have 4 cards in your energy, 4 cards in your front line. There are actually 2 different discard areas. As far as I'm aware, you really only use the remove area in not too many situations. This is your discard, essentially. This is your graveyard. As far as I'm aware, the only time I've seen the remove area come into play is if it's not a card saying put it in the remove area. It's, let's see, if you're maxed out in energy, let's say you have 4 cards here, you are allowed to remove a card to play a card. You're more than welcome to do that. And if you do that, it goes to the remove area instead of the discard. Keep that in mind. You are allowed to move cards from your energy to your front line. You are actually not allowed to move cards back. That's never allowed. You can only move cards to the front line, which makes sense, I suppose. And there actually is cards. Let's see if I can find it in here. There actually is cards in the game like this Killua, where he has a step ability where during your movement phase, that's what it's called at the beginning of your turns, a movement phase, you're allowed to move him back to your energy. So that's pretty cool. That is a whole ability, you know what I mean? But yeah, you can do some stuff with that. And then when it comes to blocking your life, that's where the front line comes into play as well. So you can only attack with units on the front line. You can only block incoming attacks from units on the front line. So yeah, and then when you have characters on your front line, if they're in active mode on your opponent, so you can attack with them, put them into active if you choose to, or you can leave them in active mode on your front line, and you can block your opponent's attacks. putting them into rest mode if you do block. If your battle power here in the bottom left is more than your opponent's when they're attacking, if you have more battle power as the blocker, you do block the attack and your character stays alive. You just simply block the attack, nothing happens. You can also sacrifice your characters. Let's say he's swinging with the Yuji here, and I have Rukia on the field. Even though it's a matched 35-35, I can block the attack, saving life. Rukia will, instead of staying on the field and going to active, she'll go to the outside. So yeah, you can either block the incoming attacks with more BP, with more battle power, or you can block and sacrifice your characters with the matched BP or less. But yeah, the raid system can make for really interesting plays. Since you're able to play cards in rest mode, you can utilize cards for their energy. So for example, you can play Ichigo, use his energy for whatever you're using it for, and then now that he's in rest mode and you have him in play, you can now raid with Ichigo, moving him into the front line. So that's basically how a raid's gonna work. You can play cards on either the front or the energy line, and if you happen to raid with a card on the energy line, you have the option to move them into the front line. As you can see here, when it says raid, switch to active, may move to front line. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And yeah, there's even cards that have triggers that allow you to raid from hand if you pull that trigger. So there's some really, really interesting interactions I can't wait to see throughout the game. But yeah, the different types of cards that I've seen at the moment are, like I said, the pretty vanilla-ish character cards. This Ichigo's a 0 cost, doesn't really do much, he's just there to get energy out for you. Early games can definitely be a little bit boring in my opinion, because you start with 0 energy. You gotta play your energy. You start with 0 and 1 action. And then if you're on second player, you get to start with 2. So going second is definitely nice. So yeah, we have your vanilla character cards, you have your full art character card. So keep in mind, this Rukia is not a raid card, as you can see, but she is a full art. So and she has an effect, of course. But there are characters like Byakuya here, who is a character with an ability, 3 cost, and he's going to be giving you 2 energy in the bottom right. Very nice. Also, all the different types of triggers. She does not have a trigger as well. Keep that in mind. So there are cards without triggers in the game. And then you have your event cards like Bandai here, which this is an interesting one. This one you use 2 of your AP and switch them. You use 1 AP to switch 2 of your action points to active. I'm guessing that's there so that you can't do this with 0 action points. But yeah, Bankai, this would not stay on the field. You just pop this, doesn't give you energy, just an event card. Then you also have sight cards, which can't be used to attack. Believe they stay in your energy. I mean, I imagine they will. They can't block, right? And they give you energy as well as have effects. So these are going to be really cool cards to have as well. And then, of course, the raid cards. They're character cards that can be played with special effects, essentially. The different animes that there are to come, the different interactions that we could see throughout the game. I'm really, really curious how this is going to look. But yeah, if you guys are curious, we could take a quick peek at the decks here. Yeah, that's basically the Ichigo deck here. There's a Renji card. There is a Renji raid card. Again, these are demo decks, so there's a chance that none of these cards will be seen at all throughout the game. I kind of doubt it, though. Right? I'm sure they'll be reusing these arts. There's no way they just use them as a one-off. And you can actually pick these demo decks up. I wouldn't get scammed on them. Don't spend too much, please. But yeah, let's see. Uryu. But yeah, we've basically been looking at the Bleach deck, so you've pretty much seen them all. There's Orihime. And then there's the Hunter deck. But yeah, I'll just kind of go through the cards as we're chatting about the game. But yeah, I'm really excited about Union Arena. Let me know what your guys' thoughts and opinions are on the game. I've heard it plays very similar to One Piece. Here, I'll zoom in so you can really see the art. Yeah, I've heard it plays very, very, very similar to One Piece. I've never played One Piece. I'm not really a One Piece fan myself, but that card game's doing really good. So I'm gonna take that, you know, with some positivity. I'm gonna assume that's a really good thing. So yeah, different animes. I'm hoping will keep the game alive more than it ever possibly could if it was just like a Hunter x Hunter or a Bleach card game, obviously. Bringing different people in. Oh, another thing I'm really excited about for this card game is you can collect the anime you want to go for. So, obviously the starter decks, but the booster boxes, you literally just buy Bleach boxes, or you buy JJK boxes, you buy Hunter x Hunter boxes, whatever you want. It's really cool. You can literally just collect a certain anime. You can just build certain animes. It's totally up to you. And I think different animes are going to have different colors as well, so you're not just restricted to certain colors. And then let's see, dude, the JJK cards are so clean. I love these, especially because it's blue. Blue's my favorite color. So any blue decks I can run, and it's JJK, so clean, dude. And yeah, from what I've seen as far as these 3 decks, the different like things that they're doing, as I said with the Bleach deck, you're pretty much interacting with your discard a lot from what I've seen. With the Bleach deck, a lot of discard interaction. You can like bring cards back from the discard and stuff a little bit. These demo decks aren't doing too much, but they have their effects. What is this deck? The JJK deck, what is this deck doing? I think the JJK deck is really focusing on drawing. You're drawing a lot of cards with the JJK deck from what I've seen. Oh, and a lot of power manipulation. Yeah. There's a lot of increasing and decreasing of power with this deck. And then the Hunter x Hunter deck is really focused on ramping. Man, you can get a lot of energy out with the Hunter x Hunter deck. It's pretty crazy. And I'll actually show you guys because of what ramping looks like in this game because of the limitation on energy slots. With the Hunter x Hunter deck, not only do you have the... I mean, it has obviously a bunch of these 2 energies. They give you 2 energy, but it also has, where is it? This is like the only sight card that I saw that can give you up to 2 energy. So yeah, like there's just a bunch of 2 energy cards. Like you have 4 of them out. You've got 8 total energy. It's pretty crazy. Watch, where's the sight card for Hunter x Hunter? Yeah, with this sight card, it's either 1 or 2 energy, which is really cool. So yeah, having 4 out, going to 8 with Hunter x Hunter is pretty crazy. But yeah, again, there's some restrictions in this game, but also some freedom. And I don't know, I'm curious. Again, I'm curious with the AP restrictions, with the board restriction, how much it's going to affect the game. But I think it's going to be really fun. I think there's going to be cool interactions. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people playing it. I hope. I imagine. We'll see. Let me know how excited you guys are. You let me know if you want to see more coverage on the game. Let me know if you guys would like to see some gameplay. I could definitely arrange some gameplay through Tabletop Sim with a homie. But yeah, all in all, definitely excited for the card game myself. I'll be opening booster boxes on stream, on the channel. Definitely check it out. Yeah, like and subscribe, etc. And yeah, let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Take care.